I'm Grant Threlkeld, and this is my facilities audit from the checklist at review for OK Elementary. So, first of all, about OK Elementary, we are in the Wichita Public Schools, where there are just over 50,000 students in the district. There are 375 students at OK Elementary, and that number has been growing over the past few years. 3 years ago it was at 321. Now it's at 375. Part of that is because this is a community school for some of the students here. Their parents went here, and also their grandparents. The OK school has been around since 1876 and has gone under several remodels. In the past 27 years, it's had 6 different remodels, which I'll get into that here in a little bit. But the demographics of the building is changing. Part of that is because as older generations move out and younger families move in, it leads to a growing student population. As you can see on the demographics chart below, that the majority of the school is Caucasian, that has stayed relatively the same. However, there's been an increase in Hispanic students as time has moved forward, which has led to some unique opportunities for the school in that there are more students and their families that are speaking Spanish. When it comes to the faculty and staff here, we have 18 full-time teachers. We are a pre-K through 5 school, and there are 18 paraprofessionals. The vast majority of those are working with students with significant cognitive delays, as we have 3 of those classrooms. There's 2 speech pathologists, an OT and a PT that we share with some other schools, 1 principal, social worker. We also have 2 therapists, and a behavior liaison. That's a little bit about the school. Now on to the fun stuff. When talking about the strengths of the school, like many schools, we do have the keyless entry that requires an ID badge to get into the doors, and there are only 5 total doors around the school that you can scan your ID badge in order to get into. If not, you have to go through the front of the building, which is pictured here, in which you have to be buzzed into the office. There are 2 sets of doors. You walk into one set of doors, then you immediately have to turn right and be buzzed into the office, where then they scan your ID to make sure that you are who you say you are in order to get a visitor's badge to proceed into the school. The signage of the school out front is good. We are on one of the major streets in Wichita, and that sign is readily seen, and the grounds are well maintained. When it comes to the buses, they pull in here off of up to a side street, and that is frequently gated off to prevent people from coming in the same way as the buses. There are 2 different busing areas, one for students with special transportation, either because they live outside the boundaries and their special education program is at our school, or they live within our district but riding the normal bus doesn't work for them. So their drop-off is on the opposite side of the building. This is the location for the general ed students, and the teachers walk them out of the building to the buses. As you can partially see over here, there is a fence that is delineating the line between the playground and the school grounds and the streets. OK Elementary does sit right next to a neighborhood. Now, when it comes to weaknesses, there recently has been some graffiti that has shown up on some of the sidewalks that appears to be drawn in Sharpie, and also on one of the picnic benches. Because OK is a community school, there and the gates to the playground are left unlocked, families come over, which also gives the opportunity for some of the drawing on the sidewalk and on a picnic table. Another one that creates some issue for us is, even though the sign says that there's staff parking, the vast majority of the parking is on the north side of the building, and there is a door on that side that has what looks just like the front door where it can buzz you in. However, this is only meant for the latchkey students that are after school, so that their parents can be buzzed in. So we'll have people that will come over to that and try to be buzzed in, and that doesn't work. The signage in that area isn't fantastic. Another one that's come about, and this is in the wing that I'm in, it was the most recent addition in 2015, is these were originally doors, outside doors, which then, because there were some staff members who were using that as an entrance and exit door, when it was supposed to be used as an emergency exit, it was changed to windows. Well, then the only problem is that those windows open in to the building, and they're tough to get to. So if there were to be an emergency, and that being our secondary exit, it's really not a great secondary exit, especially because in this corner of the building are 3 of the special education classrooms. So it's kind of one of the situations that we really don't want the worst to happen. Over here in our library, we have a great setting area for students, but there aren't any sort of handrails or anything to prevent a student from falling, especially with all of these beanbag chairs. And then something else that we put up there is, this is a sign on all of our entrance doors, but it's only written in English, and especially as we have a growing Hispanic population, they may not be able to read that, which then leads to some potential frustrations. When it comes, well, I'll get to where this can be done. When it comes to training, this has been an area on how to use chemicals and how to use supplies that has gotten some cutbacks recently. Part of it is at the district level, they've taken over this component, so they will start ordering for the buildings the supplies that they think they should need. And part of it, they used to do trainings on all of the chemicals that, according to one of the custodians that I spoke with, that would take 6 to 7 hours while the gentleman would explain every single chemical. And that no longer happens. It's more of, there's a label on it, make sure you use it correctly. And in speaking with the custodians, and they had mentioned that the district was trying to create so much uniformity across the board that anybody could come in and do a person's job. At my building at Oak Elementary, we've been fortunate that we've had one custodian here for 27 years. When it comes to deferred maintenance, or how work orders get done, there is no capital outlay for the building. That all of that money is housed at the district level, and then people put in their requests for what they would like to be done, and then the money gets allocated that way. And it kind of becomes, what's the biggest need right now? One of the things that's going to be installed coming up is intruder locks on all the teacher doors, that if there were to be an emergency, we can push a button and it locks the door, and the only key that can get in is a key that is within the classroom, which helps out with that problem of, what if there's a sub and there's an emergency and they don't have the key to lock the door. I put the picture of the flooring here in the entryway because this is a piece of maintenance that the principal and custodian would like to see done, because when they did the last renovation in 2015, they were laying down this tile the weekend before school started, and the Sunday before school started, they were waxing the floor. And so there's some unevenness in the tiles. And so the custodian and principal would both like to see that done, but at this point in time, because it's not a major problem, it's low on the priority list. That, like the text talks about a work order, an electronic work order system, anyone who wants a work order done will submit it, and then it will move into the appropriate channels of getting approved by a person who approves it from a money standpoint, and a person who approves it from the work standpoint. And then once those components are made, then the person will be sent out to complete the work, and many of those projects are taken care of over the summer. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.